Until a few months ago, Craig and I were living on a farm in Mozambique. It was beautiful in many ways, but it was also very remote. It was really stressful. And over time, that stress started taking its toll. So we started something really simple, just walking. Every morning, we'd head out a walk, just us together. And obviously, Carter, our black Labrador, who was convinced that he was in charge of the whole expedition each morning. But those walks were important because they became our quiet connecting space. There were no phones, no notifications, no emails, no rushing off to the next thing, just the two of us walking and talking. And over time, three things became really clear. Number one, we love travel and adventure. Number two, we absolutely love being by the coast, the sun, the sand, the sea. And when we went down to the coast, we had a boat there, and we absolutely loved being on our boat out in Vilanculos. So naturally, the conversation became, well, when we retire one day, why don't we get a boat and live on a boat? And at that time, it was just a dream. It was a day idea, the sort of thing you talk about while walking and then putting it back on the shelf a little later. And the more space we kind of gave that idea, I should say, it became clearer and clearer. We started researching more, as one does. One starts watching YouTube videos. We talked more. We explored like all the possibilities. And somehow, eventually, with all of this happening, we found our boat much, much earlier than expected. But what strikes me now isn't really the boat itself, to be honest, but it's what made the boat possible, and that is space. So those morning walks gave us room to think. It gave us room to dream. If we could do anything in our life, what would it be? It gave us room to just hear ourselves and our little voices that often get subdued by conditioning, by society, or just the practicalities of everyday living. And just that space gave us the possibility to dream a little bigger, to vision or visualize or just talk about what our dreams of one day might be. And lately I've been wondering whether many of us are really just missing exactly that, this idea of more space. Not because life necessarily is harder than it used to be, but because there are so many tabs open for us at the moment. Open tabs on our computers, on our notifications, on our emails, open tabs on our phones, our inboxes, open tabs in our minds, all the things we need to do, people we need to call, the projects we need to finish, or the projects we need to start, the decisions that we still have to make, those pending decisions, the ones we haven't made, articles we want to read, music we want to listen to, books we want to read, messages we still need to answer. It's like carrying around 100 tiny little unfinished conversations all day, every day. And then we wonder why we feel so overwhelmed, exhausted, and tired at the end of the day. At least that's how I feel. We often tell ourselves that we need more discipline, we need more motivation, we need a better plan, a stronger morning routine, better supplements. But sometimes the problem isn't lack of discipline. Sometimes we just have too many tabs open, and sometimes we just need to create a little bit of space to close down those tabs, to finish off all those little unfinished projects, the knitting project, the crochet project, the artwork. And I've noticed that in my own life recently, the more cluttered things become, digitally or mentally, the harder it is to actually hear what matters. All those signals get buried under the noise. That is why our upcoming seasonal reset is focused on decluttering our digital clutter. Not just cupboards, not just our kitchens, not just our bodies, not just our space, but actually maybe just pausing and closing down all those open tabs that are causing overwhelm, anxiety, and this feeling of too much. The little things that just consume attention and energy every single day. Because when we create space, interesting things happen. Clarity starts to return, and we can hear ourselves again. We can hear those little whispers of our deep dreams coming alive again. We can actually see what matters. We can get that bigger picture, and we can make decisions a lot more easily. And sometimes, if we're very mindful, we can even hear those quiet ideas that have been patiently waiting for us in the background, the ones that might just change the direction of our lives, just like the boat did for us. So here's a quick question for you. What feels like the biggest open tab for you right now? And what would happen if you created just a little space around it? And maybe that's exactly where your next step is waiting. And if you'd like to join us for the July seasonal reset, you'll find all the details inside my school community, and the links are below. I'd love to have you there and join us. And until then, perhaps take a walk. You never know what clarity might be waiting for you on the other side. I'll see you again soon. Bye.